Hello there. Just checking the other modulars for inspiration here. I am planning to build a custom townhouse for a family of 5. Now I know that I was supposed to do a review of Lego Soundwave next, but let's just say that I got sidetracked. Lego modular buildings are the main part of my hobby, and whenever I get a new idea concerning those, it's pretty much go time. Now a while back I built this Sanctum Sanctorum alt build designed by rebelnili. It is called Antique Bookstore and Townhouse. Even back then I was planning to make some heavy modifications for this. The plan was to remove the section on the left and make this into a corner building, and then place this next to the assembly square and build a copy of the assembly square tower to be part of this building also. Now in the next couple of clips, the second floor of this building is already missing. I kind of forgot to shoot these bits before I disassembled it. But even without it, I still think that you're gonna get the bigger picture. So we need a copy of this tower to be part of the building on the right. And that building needs to be a corner building, so we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then this bookstore part needs to be removed so that we can align the wall with the assembly square wall here. And this gap will be filled by the copy of the tower section. And the combination of these two buildings needs to look somewhat reasonable. It might be easy, it might be difficult. We will see. Now going through the other modular buildings that I had, I noticed that none of them had room for a full family. There was usually just a single bed. That was due to the size of those buildings. Every townhouse or apartment in the modular range seems to be quite small. Like this apartment next to the police station. There is only a single bed here, a record player on this side, and a very small kitchenette on this side. It has a sink and a stove, but if we think about a real kitchen, I think this is definitely missing a fridge. And of course, there is no bathroom here at all. Now, if we look at the apartment in the assembly square, we have a sofa bed for sleeping, and once again, a small kitchenette with a sink and a stove. No fridge, unless that is a fridge there at the top, but I think that it's a microwave. Now that small room there at the back is a washroom, so that is a good addition. And there is even this outdoor kitchen here at the back. A definite bonus. There is a quite nice bedroom in the townhouse of the bookshop set. And a quite nice living room downstairs. But there is no kitchen whatsoever unless it is all hidden inside that cupboard. And there is no bathroom here at all. And this bedroom is in the upstairs of the bookshop. Quite small and not much details here. And in the second floor, we have this quite nice living room, but then again, there is no room for a kitchen or a bathroom here. Now all of those buildings were quite small, but I was planning to do something different and dedicate a full baseplate building for just to be a family home. And next I started to think who would be part of this family. Now I haven't seen a bunk bed in a modular building so far, so that gave me idea of twin kids. And with a building of this size, perhaps I could fit a teenager there too. Of course, in addition to the mother and father. So at the end of last year, I had this idea in mind when I was at a Lego event where there was a build-your-own minifigure station. So I put the family together there. And here they are. From the left, we have the father, then the mother, a teenage boy, and two younger girls that are the twins. Now this family might change based on the rooms that I can fit in. If I can't get the bunk bed in, then there might be only one girl. And if there is room for only 2 bedrooms, then perhaps this couple only had 1 kid. We will see. But I think that we're gonna fit everyone in. This European Jazz Cafe is a corner building of similar size that I am planning, and it looks quite big next to the assembly square. Now I'm hoping to fit everything in that there would normally be in a home for 5. That would be full kitchen, dining room and living room in the bottom floor, and perhaps a guest bathroom there also. The second floor would have 2 bedrooms, one with a double bed and one with bunk bed, and also the main bathroom. And the third bedroom would be in the 3rd floor. And perhaps another bathroom there also, if there is room. Now, before I can start to design the layout and try to fit all those rooms in, I have to decide the dimensions of the building. The streets in front of modular buildings vary somewhat. Some of them are only 6 studs wide, while others are up to 8 studs wide. So I'm not getting a definite answer from that. Instead, I'll have to use the buildings that I'm going to place next to this building as a guide. Now, of course, one of those buildings is going to be the assembly square, but I have not locked the other building yet. But there is quite high probability that that building is going to be the Natural History Museum. Now that might change in the future, but at least for now, I am planning this townhouse so that it will align with the Natural History Museum. And actually, it already does. That black fence will align perfectly with the front facade of the townhouse. So there is no need to do any changes there. So we only need to worry about the side next to the assembly square. Now I thought it would be best to just try to build that additional tower and then try to figure out the wall placement based on that. Now I have several assembly square sets in my collection, so I should have most parts for that tower, but not all of them. But now it is time to start the build. Here I have put together the first and the second floor of that tower and tested the wall placement. Now this corner is quite awkward, but this wall placement would match the door placement in the first floor. But I think that this wall placement would be somewhat problematic for the townhouse. Even though I am planning to remove the bookstore part, I was hoping to continue these architectural details from this side on the other side too, perhaps with just 2 stud wide windows. So I think that I would need 4 studs at minimum there, 2 for the windows and 1 stud for the wall on either side. Now, if I could find a way to match the wall position with the assembly square wall, I would actually get those 4 studs that I need. Modifying the second floor of the tower to make it happen was quite easy. I just needed to remove the window facing sideways. Next, I need to replace this angled door with a straight one. Now that was quite easy, but now I have another problem. Because the door is no longer angled like the other one, now the bottom of the tower is actually behind the door. So I need to come up with a solution that will work, but would not clash with the other side. With a bit of testing, I found that these curved slopes would work here nicely, though I might want to replace them with blue ones to match this section here, or with black ones to match the other door. But for the time being, the green ones will do the job. And now this is how the tower looks on top of that door. I think it works quite nicely. Next, I decided to use the same tower section to see how the third floor tower section would look. The third floor would have these side windows here, and the wall could continue from that position and meet the existing building somewhere there behind the chimney. And that grey door from the townhouse would lead into a smaller balcony. After a bit of searching, I managed to find most of the parts for a second tower section, and I also built some temporary supports for them. And trying to find parts for the roof section was quite natural next step. I was pretty sure that I had all of those available. And indeed, that was true. Now this tower is starting to look quite nice. Of course, it still needs some more snot pieces and cheese loaf pieces to complete the tiled look. And I might need to replicate these white roof details on the other side too, but I'm not sure if those will be needed. So I'll worry about those later. Seeing that tower built gave me some new ideas. I realized that the glass door at the bottom there won't probably lead into the townhouse. It would look a bit off. So there will be some sort of a small business there. But I will have to try to make it as small as possible. Otherwise, it is going to take up space from the kitchen, living and dining area of the building. But that is something that I'm going to worry later on. At this point, I was concentrating on the position of the outer walls. And now I knew the exact position of both of the front walls. So I could effectively transfer the floor plan on an empty base plate and see where the windows would be and how I would divide that space into separate rooms. And this was sort of a first draft. From this, I could easily see that the two rooms closest to you would have easy access to windows. And the same would be true for this room next to the assembly square. For the final room, I was planning to do this sort of an inverted corner in order to get some windows for it too. Now facing the windows towards the assembly square stairs would be a bad idea. So perhaps the windows could face this back alley instead. And this is how that inverted corner would look from the other side. Now I think that this improves the flow between the buildings, but of course it grabs some space away from the actual building. Then I realized that I wasn't using the correct building for these tests, and that's because I don't own it at the moment. So while that design could work next to the police station, it would not work next to the Natural History Museum, because on the backside of the museum there's only 3 studs of empty space. And therefore that inverted corner would look like this, and I don't see any point adding windows to either of those walls. So it looks like the inverted corner is not going to work at all. So let's build a full corner. Definitely no windows for the wall facing the assembly square stairs. And as the other wall is only 3 studs wide, there is no room for a window there either. So, what to do? Angled wall could be an option. Now the windows wouldn't face either of the buildings. Instead, they would face probably a park area that would be here behind the buildings. So currently, I will put this angled wall in the design, but I will only use it if I actually need a window in the room next to it. And now I had all the outer walls figured out. The next logical step was move on to the inner walls. Now, one detail that would have big impact on those inner walls was the chimney of this building. I was not planning to make any changes to its position behind that main roof section. Interestingly, the chimney kind of disappears in the original outbuild. It is supposed to be there where that fridge is now. The fireplace in the first floor is directly below that chimney, but as it skips the floor above, it seems somewhat off. Well, I think that all that comes down to parts constraints. When one is designing a outbuild of a modular building, and you're struggling to find enough bricks for your walls, chimney is probably not your priority. But I'm not planning an outbuild here, so I can add all the bricks that I need. Therefore, making a realistic chimney was a priority for me. So it was time to transfer the chimney position to my building plan. I carefully checked that this was the correct placement of the roof, and I marked the chimney with some yellow bricks. Now that chimney position was a bit surprising for me. I thought it would be closer to the center of the building. But as you can see here, it is not. Well, it is a bit problematic, but I'll just have to take it into account when I design the interior. Here I'm testing the position of the stairs. The first floor of the assembly square is quite tall, so the stairs have to be quite tall too. Now I haven't mentioned this before, but in order to make that additional assembly square tower to work, I will need to make the townhouse floor heights match the assembly square. And that means that eventually I will have to modify the facade of the building quite a bit in order to make it work. Here I tried to build a mirrored version of the stairs and use the chimney position as a guide for the interior walls. Now, in the first floor, that area would be the small business. It is a bit bigger than I had planned, but it is difficult to make it any other size because of that chimney. At this point I realized that perhaps the first floor is not the most difficult one here, because it's gonna have that small business, and then it just might be open concept kitchen, dining room, and living room. And of course the stairs to the second floor. The second floor would need to have those stairs too, and then 2 bedrooms, one with a double bed and one with a bunk bed, and then the main bathroom of this building. Trying to get all that fit in proved to be far more problematic. But I think that we'll have to get back to that in the next video. Now we didn't get much done here, but this is how my design process works. Slowly at the start. If you want to get a notification as soon as the next part is up, you should consider hitting that subscribe button down there. I will upload the next video ASAP, but remember, when a sloth says that, it means as slowly as possible. Bye bye.